Hey, happy Friday. Let's see, we've moved into August and today is the 7th day of the Olympics. So I promised in my newsletter that I would talk about my Olympic challenge to myself. So I'm not terrifically competitive. However, I am competitive with myself. So if I set up little challenges, it's often the best way for me to get things done. So like in the morning when I'm cleaning up my kitchen and making coffee, doing little household things, I will often put the milk in the microwave to heat it and see how much laundry I can get folded in that 1 minute that I have. And so those little challenges work really well for me. I don't know what that says about me, but that's what it is. So I have set up categories, which I realize you're going to get backwards. So I have gold, which says that the project was completed, started, and completed. So these 3 projects are secret, so I can't actually unfurl them and show them off. And it's been hot. These are plant fibers and silk, and they're not very big, so they've been great for that. And then for silver, these are completed existing projects. So I always have things that I need to complete. And I made the pieces of this shawl, looking for the right side. So it's a shawl or a cowl. It was done in 3 pieces, and I had the 3 pieces all finished, but I wasn't sure how the lace was going to end up interacting with this cable panel. So tossed it aside. Went to Australia for 3 months. And so now I've put it together, and I think I had 2 skeins of this yarn, which shall remain nameless for right now. It's from Utopia. I think is it Helix Fine? Anyhow, so I had 2 skeins, and I split them so that I could get these 2 different, or what looks like 3 different colors. Quite pleased with it. I had to add this trim to the bottom. Apparently I need to clip one more end. And when I sat down and really looked at what it needed, I see that end is there because I need to glue it down. So I decided that I needed to make it look seamless from the trim that I'd put on here, which is the 2x2 cable. And then just so it didn't look like completely random that I'd already all of a sudden gone to cables, I put a row of eyelet as I joined it. So anyhow, very pleased with how this came out. Pretty much written the instructions, so that's good. The other thing I finished, which I really shouldn't be counting because all I did was secure the ends, but my former knitter made this for me. It's a Leon Triboules, and it's really cool when you do 2 colors because you get this stark change. And I think I had 2 skeins of this. I have enough to do a hat. This is for Mitch, and he needs me to show him how to put it on. So I'm looking for that. Okay, so let's see. I think this looks great, and he could just put it in a jacket like that, but I had it on to see if he would wear it, and I think I had it like that, which of course looks even better. Whether or not he will wear it or do any fussing with it remains to be seen, but really happy to have that. And then for bronze, which says project moved towards completion, because it's not always easy to just complete something in one fell swoop. So I had begun the 2 pieces. Well, actually, I had this piece started. I was up to the underarm, I think, when we went to Australia. And so let's see if I can just, where does this go? This is my right sleeve. So I got this great yarn from Fiber MacGyver. I did shortish sleeves because I always wear bracelets, and I wasn't sure how much yarn. So necessity being the mother of invention. This has not been blocked yet. So it's just a shrug, but I'm making it into a cardigan. So this will button to the other side, and the other side will button over here. There are a few things that I would change. It's obviously a little bit big, but I don't know. I think it'll be drapier once it gets blocked, and it'll be fine. So let's see. I can get this into a position where you can see the bottom. Remove that. And of course this print looks excellent with it. So I made it so it goes up here. I have a similar sweater that I purchased years ago. It's just great for traveling because it's not fitted. I can put it on over anything. It's great if I need like an extra layer under a coat because it turned out to be colder than I'm expecting, which is often the case. So the one thing that I'm not sure about was I put this ribbing in as a way to put shoulder shaping in. And I have a feeling it's going to be too flexible, so I may end up putting a little facing behind that to make it less. So that's why this is on the move to completion. And I realized I was going to run out of yarn, so I had to get a little creative. And then I started this sleeve. Of course, I love green, I know nobody else does, but you can kind of see better this V I put at the shoulder. So when I ordered more yarn, you can see it's a slightly different color. So there we have the stripe to separate them because there was no freaking way I was starting over. And so that sort of thing doesn't really bother me because I think unless I point it out to somebody, which I might, it's not going to matter. So put in more stripes because I didn't want the two sides to look the same because this is actually a piece I was making for myself. And I put ribbing under the arm. So again, like I said, I often end up layering it and that just gives it a little bit more flexibility. But the sleeve is quite wide at the top, obviously. I don't have to worry about whether or not my arm's going to fit in there. It's more like, what's the shape of the thing that I might be wearing underneath it. So I have beautiful antique buttons, or vintage buttons, that I'm going to add onto that. And then lots of little power shell buttons that I'm going to use underneath to button the fronts together. Sometimes I wear it open, sometimes I button it. You can do different things and make it look really different. So that's my actually first 6 days of the Olympics because we haven't had our Olympic knitting time yet today. I'm working on another one of these, which is out of this yarn, what I have left over. Very excited to get that off the needles. And then my next project started and moving towards completion. So I had this shawl made. It's so freaking big that I can't wear it. I did actually take it once when we went to an outdoor play. It was just right. I put it on and wrapped it around myself and it was great. But it's kind of voluminous, but I love this yarn. It's Cormo, and so I had another one of these. It's called Fiore, and I accidentally put it in the dryer when we were in Australia. I don't ever dry anything, so I don't know. But, when you're traveling, you have to make do. I'm trying to get this to be a little bit different. So I usually pull it around myself and tie it in front. But this is so freaking huge that it literally looks like I'm wearing a blanket. So my plan, I'm going to get this off, it's hot, is it's joined by flexible 3-needle bind off. And so this is all one piece. No, it's two pieces and they meet in the middle. So here is the middle, and so I'm going to take this out, and I did the join all as one piece because it was so brilliant and I didn't think I'd be taking it out. So I will take out all of the 3-needle join, and it goes around the neck and down, and then the center back is separate, and I'm hoping that by reducing it into two pieces can create sort of the same shape without having to rip the whole thing out. So then I'll end up with two pieces. So this is my looks like I was supposed to pick it up on July 21st, but I got interested in my lace and cable shawl. So this will actually happen on Sunday because I'm teaching a beginning knitting class tomorrow. And let's see if I can. Just going to take a piece of paper and show you how this shape works. It's certainly not my idea, but I love it. So you create a rectangle, and then let's see, how does it go? You join it like that, and so this joins it. This piece was so big that I did it in two pieces. I've done it in just one, and then it's all about being able to drape it. It's called a ruana, and wear it in different ways. So I'm very sad about the one that I ruined, and it took a lot of thought on my part to be able to just throw it away in Australia, so I was like, I could cut it up, the part that felted, I could make flowers out of it, and I'm just like, Jill, you need another project, like you need a hole in your head, just let it go. There's plenty of beautiful yarn out there. So Australia, I left a pair of running shoes, which I bought in probably 2010. Loved them. They were flat running shoes. Just absolutely adored them. They were a little too short, and I often lost the nail on my second toe, which is the longest one on my feet. But they were super comfortable, and I loved them. But there was a hole in them, and I brought them with me. I wore them a lot just walking, but I brought them with me to walk in the coral reefs, and I did that. And that was really about their final act. And they were just like coming apart every place. And so I have another pair that I bought probably in 2018, but I don't like them as much. They're exactly the same brand, same shoe, but they're just kind of not the same. But my toenail doesn't fall off, so that's good. And I left behind a pair of linen pants that made me feel dumpy. And Mitch assured me that they didn't, but every time I wore them, I just felt like I looked like a dumpy middle-aged lady, which actually I guess I should say a dumpy senior citizen. So I wore them throughout the trip because I didn't have that many pants with me, and I just left them there. And the shawl that I felted. So came back weighing less than what I went there with, or my suitcase. Anyhow, I actually came back weighing less too because we walked so much. So this whole Olympic knitting thing, as I said, I'm not very competitive. I do love to watch the Olympics, but I can make myself do things when I challenge myself. So anytime I can find like some little way to motivate myself to do things that may not be as appealing to me as starting a new project or solving all the issues that I have with a project, I'm going to take advantage of it. So Mitch, who does no arts and crafts, is a bread baker. So his Olympic challenge was to make his bread taller. Tallness is very important to him. So every time he bakes a loaf, I measure how high it is, and he tried a new method, an additional folding of his dough, and he has managed to go from prior to the Olympics, his bread was measuring 3.875, and he went immediately to 4 inches and got even another 1/8 of an inch. So we'll see what he can do in the week that's left. Yeah, that's what it's like here. I am pretty stoked about getting some of these projects moved forward, and I always have to have something new going on. So that's why this little flurry of other projects, but they're committed to third parties. So it was perfect timing. Actually, 2 of them were committed. I've now knit 3 and I'm on my 4th. And I really encourage you to find ways to challenge yourself to get things done. It is so easy to start and so much more difficult to finish. But we start most of our projects wanting them. Hi, Sandy. And so it's worth it to get back to them. I do kind of classic designs or, designs that you can wear forever. So it doesn't matter if it takes me years to finish something. I'm still going to love it when it's done, and I use the best yarn I can. And so I have put together some planning sheets of how to, just how to tame those works in progress or UFOs. Sometimes they have to be reclaimed from becoming unfinished. Sometimes they're just sitting waiting for something to happen to move them forward. But they can be a kind of a mental burden if you don't write down what's happening. So I love to make worksheets and stuff. So if you want the worksheets, I have them someplace where you can access them. But it's late in the day on Friday. I'm hot and I can't remember where they are. So just DM me and I will give you the link. They're all downloadable. They're all copyrighted to me. You can use them however you want. If you use them in a class or something else, I ask that you contact me before you do that. But feel free to share them with other knitters or, other knitters. They probably would work for somebody who's not a knitter. I use a very similar product. My hummingbirds are up enjoying the feeder that I use for like writing patterns, because those go off the rails pretty easily. And so just DM me if you want to share in my Got Knits stationery. I have a form for everything. Then I can never remember where I put them. And enjoy the Olympics. I'm just using the time to get this knitting done. And Mitch operates the remote control because he likes being in control. And so I can just knit and knit and knit. I did have to put it down a few times during the gymnastics just so I could watch. And so happy August 2. Happy Friday. It's a beautiful day here in Seattle. And as you can see, I'm wearing my cultural appropriation dress. I bought this probably 15 years ago in Toronto. And it's just a brilliant design, and it's made from, they call those, they wear them in Indonesia, sarong. And I don't think it's African, I think it's from Indonesia. And the gal who designed this dress just totally maximized the brilliance of the print, did very little cutting. And when I bought it, I was probably 55, and I remember walking down the street in Toronto and thinking, I look pretty good. And every time I put this dress on, I look pretty good, even 15 years later. So anyhow, go out into the world and be gorgeous. Bye.